Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sign of the Times. We want to thank you for allowing us to come into your homes, into your place of business. Want to thank you for allowing us to sit with you today and have an opportunity to talk to you about the things that are going on in life. We just appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule and allowing us to just have this chat with you about the things that are going on in our world. We have been having a wonderful time with wonderful guests. We've had a lot of opportunities to share with you the special things that have come our way, whether it's dealing with church, with work, with the community, with businesses. We've been able to talk to you because we're living in difficult times. We're living in unprecedented times, times that we've never had to deal with before. And it is our job, our duty here to make sure that you are fully equipped. And so we're coming at you from every different angle, every different way. And so I thank you for your support. I thank you for your encouragement. I thank you for your questions. If you have comments or what have you, make sure that you leave them in the comment section, hit the like button, and we're going to challenge you at the end to hit the share button. I do want to challenge you before going forward that I want to challenge you to remain safe and healthy during these difficult times. When you go out, make sure that you cover yourself, protect yourself, take your, I call it hand sanitizer, whatever it is, take it, sprinkle it all over, just put it all over, just do whatever you need to do. Don't inhale it. Don't listen to that. But just put it on your hands and make sure that you're clean. Why am I telling you to make sure that you're clean? Because we need you. I need you. Your family needs you. Your friends need you. The world needs you to be safe. We want to say a special shout out to all those of you that in the same category I am that have lost people during this pandemic. We want to say that our prayers and our thoughts are with you. It's a difficult time. Many people don't understand and they don't appreciate it until it actually hits home and hits someone that you know. And so, my friends, we're praying with you, we're praying for you during these difficult times. Listen, my friends, I do want to challenge you and I do want you to take a moment and I want to encourage you to. Help me as I celebrate this new endeavor in my life, which is called Son of Another Mother. It is a book that I've written dealing with the struggle of being adopted. The picture that is seen on the book cover, it symbolizes something to me because it's a young man who, although he has the hoodie on, which is symbolic of our culture and what we've been dealing with in our nation, it's also a faceless young man because he doesn't have his identity. And the question arises when adoption is, do I owe my success in life? Do I owe my pathway in life to the mother that pushed me into life? Or do I owe it to the mother that has pushed me through life? And so this book chronicles my life story and the struggles that I had being a son that had two mothers. Which mother do I owe my allegiance to? When I'm with one mother, I don't talk about the other one. When I'm with the other one, I don't talk about that mother. And then you have to come to the realization that you owe your allegiance and your success to both mothers. Both of them played a vital role. And I dedicate that book today to my biological mother, Miss Florine Bright, who is my mom. If you ever talk to her, she is just as crazy and funny as I am. And I appreciate her for not only pushing me into life, but now at my age, she is still pushing me through life. And so I want to challenge you to go to the website. It will hit the marketplace real soon, but before it hits the marketplace, you can go to Lulu, LULU.com, and you can pick up a copy of that ebook. It is in ebook version. We're in 2020 and we know that paperback books are getting harder to come by, but you can download the book in e-form and read it at your leisure. I want to thank you. That being said, my friends, now I want to make a shift. And as I shift now, I want to help you. We normally have a commercial about here, but the commercial was dealing with that book. So I want you to help me, my friends, welcome my guest. I want to get right to my guest today. I want you to help me welcome my friend and my sister. She is the pastor of Temple of Praise. Did I get that right? Temple of Praise. I don't know, temple or something. It's something. Yeah, it's so many pastors on here. I can't get all these names straight, but I want you. I do know her name. I don't know the ministry name. Pastor Natasha Lewis. Thank you. First question: what's the name of the church? Temple of. I know it's Temple.
Temple of Deliverance.
Deliverance. I knew it was Temple of something. I knew a T.O. something. I done changed the name. Temple of Praise is a pastor that was on before. Anyway, forgive me. Temple of Praise. I want to thank you, my friend, for taking time out of your busy, hectic schedule and joining us today. How are things going with you? And tell us a little bit about yourself and what's going on with you.
Well, things are going okay. You know, we're adjusting. That's what I'll say. More than surviving, more than
Okay.
maintaining. We're adjusting. Kind of liking it way too much, I think.
Me too. I don't want to say that. Because
Um,
some of the wrong person may be watching.
I'm hoping not. I'm hoping that the folks I work with are not watching this, but I'm kind of enjoying working from home, and it's been an experience.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't gained weight. I've actually lost some pounds since the
Okay.
pandemic, so that's a plus for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's just been the only, I guess the most difficult thing I've had to encounter with all of this is not being able to see my parents as much as I want to, and not having that fellowship in the church on
Okay.
Sundays. That's been the most challenging thing for me. The rest of it, I mean, I've been asking for some days off anyway.
My problem is I always say that I feel like I'm in heaven because the old song used to say when you get to heaven, every day is going to be like Sunday. A lot of times I wake up and say, what day is today? Because, every day just runs right on along.
You're right. You're
Yeah.
right.
And someone said that when you leave this pandemic, you're going to be one of three things. You're either going to be a hunk, a chunk, or a drunk. and so and so I've been working out, so I'm not going to be a drunk or a chunk. Pastor, a question I want to start our discussion. Um, I want you to, if you can tell us what kind type of work you do. You say you're working from home, and then I'll get into my question for you.
Okay, I work in the field of mental health. I am a program director for a child and adolescent day treatment. So basically, um, I run a program where our youth are having difficult behavioral issues at school, and that warrants out of school placement. So basically, they can't go to school. And so the teacher actually comes to our program and actually gives them their academic portion of the day. And then we work on behavioral issues for the remainder of the day. So we actually operate the same hours as a school.
Okay. That's sort of my field because being a behavior support specialist, I deal with behavior issues. One of the my question is when we hear the term pastor, automatically, even in this setting, people assume that we're going to come on here and we're going to talk about, okay, you're a pastor. Tell me what's going on spiritually in this pandemic. Tell me what's happening with well, the stereotype is that when we carry that label, that people think that's all we know how to do. And that's not all that we know how to do. We're actually gifted and talented and professional in other areas. And so, that being said, I want to talk to you about what's going on in society, not from a perspective of being a church leader, but being someone in the field of mental health, because I'm sure that the mental health profession did not take a pause and go in quarantine when this pandemic hit.
We did not. The doors were shut to the office facilities, but we are considered just as essential as next business. And the key with mental health, and one of the things that they want us to make sure that we recognize is that they were requesting that if you didn't have to come to the hospital to stay away from the hospital. Well, in a lot of our situations, when there is a crisis that warrants hospitalization and things of that nature, then they end up going to for in Wake County, they go to a Holly Hill, or they go to a Bryn Mawr hospital. They go to Central Regional. They're going to go, and some of them are involuntarily committed, and so the idea or the thought behind it is if we aren't essential and mental health workers aren't working to provide that level of support, then all of all of the people that we serve and the population that we serve won't have the support that they need. And so you would have had lots and lots of crisis, mental health breakdowns, psychotic breakdowns. All of these things would have been going on throughout the process of the pandemic.
Mhm.
Um, And so there were a lot of things that had to change. We had to adjust the way that we operate. We went from having to do things face to face to telehealth,
Mhm.
teletherapy, Skyping, Zooming, you name it. And it's been an adjustment for us because the population that we serve sometimes just isn't any population. I don't want just say it's just in mental health, but it across the board. They may not have the proper equipment for those type of interactions, and so we've just been kind of making do and supporting as much as possible. Some of my colleagues have actually been out, still going to the homes and visiting with gloves and masks and things of that nature on. So it hasn't been as difficult as I thought it was going to be.
Mhm.
I'm starting to notice now that the especially for the children, just being at home with their families has made a world of a difference in their behaviors. They've calmed down
Okay, right.
tremendously. And
Yes.
so that's just been a good thing to see. We
Mhm.
just, it's just reduced. And I'm like, okay, is this, God's saying so many things in this. Everybody wants to know, oh, where did this come from and what's happening about this pandemic.
Mhm.
But my message to everyone is to look at this as an opportunity and
Mhm.
not a crisis. Because, the only thing crisis only means change. and
Mhm.
and the way and the severity of the crisis is the way that you adapt to it. And so my message has just been looking at it from the light side of it. Let's see what opportunities do we get. You
Right.
actually get to teach your child. It was so I remember in the first month of being at home, one of the greatest things that I saw was for a kid that looked overage, and I'll say overage because I think I learned how to ride a bike at like 3 or 4 years old. So I saw like a 9 year old on a bike, and they didn't know how to ride, but the dad was actually out there teaching it. And that just said to me, life has taken you here, but this
Right.
pandemic has brought you here. And
Right.
so it's like you finally get that chance to do some of the things that you could never do. And it's just been amazing just to see how people are out in the community, just, talking and waving. And people that never
Mhm.
waved at you before wave now.
Right. That's true.
So, but yeah, I don't want to get off topic. But yeah,
You,
that's what I
you're
do. Mental
fine.
health.
Listen,
Uh-huh.
I always ask this question of a lot of guests, especially deep into the conversation, but I want to start off asking you this. I'm from Philadelphia. I always say the same line. I'm from Philly, and one of my favorite movies is the movie Philadelphia with Denzel Washington. And as an attorney, he has a witness on the stand, and Denzel says, "Listen, I'm going to ask you a question." He says, "And explain it to me like I'm a 6 year old." I want you, if you can, to explain it to me like I'm a 6 year old. What is mental health?
Um, it's going to be difficult for me to give you that explanation. However, I would like to say this in my response: mental health is everywhere.
Okay.
It's in everything. It's
Hmm.
in every family. It's on every border, every shore. It's everywhere you go. And mental health it's not something that's chosen. It's something that can be inherited. It's something that can happen because of another instance or occurrence. But we're talking when we use that word mental health. I want to say this first: that oftentimes what happens is that people separate mental health from medical. But
Okay.
when we think mental, medical is always the body. Am I correct? So,
Right.
but for some reason, when you say mental health, they remove the brain from the rest of the body, and it's something totally different. I don't know why they do that, but it becomes it's a taboo for a lot of people, and so or you're looked at a certain way. So mental health
Yeah.
is really just uh,
Yeah, but
difficulties that you're facing. Go
I don't
ahead.
want to open the can of worms, but just being real, most people, the moment the term mental health is thrown out there, they think one word crazy.
They do. They do.
And
That's right.
I mean, is that incorrect? Correct?
I would definitely not use the word crazy.
Mhm.
Crazy, I like to refer to as one of my friends telling a joke. Um,
Okay, that's
but
that's me. I'm crazy.
yes, I would like to use that for that. But when it comes down to looking at mental health, a lot of times people will they go into the worst areas and the most severe episodes and breakdowns, and they want to utilize that as being what mental health actually is. And the
Hmm.
truth is that mental health is those episodes and those times of crying spells. It's those moments of depression where you can't get out of the bed. That's a part of mental health. Anxiety, when you're OCD, you're excessively cleaning things. All of those things are associated with mental health. It's not just the acting out or the attempted suicide or things like that. It's not just those things. It's a whole umbrella of different things and several different diagnoses. I'm not a therapist, so but
Hmm.
I work and I'm exposed to a lot of different diagnoses. But it's really, and I've become over time with my exposure, I've become a advocate for mental health and different things connected to it, such as medications, therapy. I've just become an advocate for it and a supporter of it because there was a time, I can be honest, where I didn't see the point of it. Growing up in a Pentecostal church, uh,
Right,
you, you
right, right,
you didn't have a mental illness; you had a demon,
right,
and
right,
so
right, right.
and because you had a demon, you
Right.
had to fast and you had to pray, and they had to put some oil on you. You might get
Uh-huh.
shut in for a little while at the church,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, I'm just being honest. And if you didn't get that demon off of you that day, that's because you're not living right, and you got to come back
Hmm.
again. And then they do some tearing, and your knees get ashy on the floor, and you get up, and if it's still there, you got to drink oil and all this kind of
Right.
stuff. And so that's the times that I grew up in. And so it was a shift for me to actually go into mental health and begin to look at what was actually happening, and then reviewing incidents in the past from growing up in church and recognizing perhaps some of the times when those people kept coming back for prayer for the same thing, it wasn't because they needed the demon to be released from them, but they just had some mental health issues that was going on. And because of that, I think that now looking back on it, a little bit of medication may have just helped. And so I'm an advocate at this point in time for the integration of mental health and spirituality. And I say that because I think that now a lot of things in church can be eliminated, alleviated. Some things can be reduced when we start to bring the support of mental health and we begin to bring it into the house of God.
Hmm.
And of course, it's going to start with the leaders. People are going to listen to their leaders. Unfortunately, now not everyone is a biblical scholar, and a lot of
Hmm.
times, whatever the preacher reads, they don't even look at the Bible. They just believe what he said, and that's what they do. And so, a lot of times, you're going to have to influence the leader to actually get involved in accepting this and bringing it into their churches. Because, I mean, in all honesty, a lot of the counseling and things like that is done. It just needs some additional support there. And I think that sometimes our people in the church, we're struggling with not necessarily knowing how to address it. We can give them scripture all day, but for some people, to be 100% honest, some people still have issues. You can give them scripture, you can read them the Bible, you can pray over them, pray with them, give them the anointed oil, you name it. Um, and they still have problems. And so sometimes there's professionals for that. We don't mind going to take we don't mind getting up in the morning taking our blood pressure pill.
Right, right,
We
right.
don't mind getting the insulin. We
Right.
don't mind going to get a Tylenol for a headache or Advil, or
Hmm.
we'll do all of those things when it comes down to the common things. But when it comes down to issues in regards to mental health, we want to look at the side effects. We want to know what it can do to you in the long run. We become experts in research as to reasons why we can't take medication, as to why we don't need to talk to a therapist. It's just so many things. And so it doesn't mean that because I'm an advocate for mental health, it doesn't mean that I don't believe in God. I trust God, but I also trust, just like some folks trust in the doctors and they will utilize doctors, I
Hmm.
also believe that psychologists, psychiatrists, therapists, counselors, and even mental health professionals and specialists can definitely help someone maintain and manage throughout the day. So,
Right. Well, so does education play a part in that? Because we need to be more educated. And the reason why I'm stressing education with churches is because you're actually dealing with a mass number of people. A question for you. A couple of weeks, I don't know, not even a couple of weeks. Last week, I heard that a local pastor had been telling his people that, don't go to the doctor, whatever, God's going to heal you. And the coronavirus is, and then he contracted it and died of the virus that he kept telling them not to be fearful of. Can it be possible that a lot of church leaders themselves are struggling with the form of mental health issues?
I definitely believe that. I think I struggle with it sometimes. I think I struggle with it sometimes. If I can just be transparent for a minute, um, I when a few years ago, when I went through a divorce, and many pastors can tell you, or many people can tell you, that when you are going through a divorce, doesn't matter who's right, doesn't matter who's wrong, doesn't matter whose side anybody wants to take. For whatever
Mhm,
reason, people do that, and they don't live in the house with you, but they do that. I have no
mhm,
reason why. I have no idea why they do that. But anyway, um, in that experience of divorce, it became a process where I had to be, as a pastor, I had to be strong for the people. I had to get up every Sunday and preach. I felt like I had to do it. And no matter what I was dealing with, no matter how my heart felt, what was going on in my mind, I still had to go and I had to perform. What people didn't know was, at the same time I'm getting ready to go out and preach, I'm in my office crying because this life was just, divorce had just hit, and the whole process of it was just, it wasn't an ugly situation between me and my ex-husband. It was just the whole heart connection and feelings and
mhm,
all of those things connected with it. And I think that at that time, to be honest, I really needed therapy, because I love my family, I love my friends, but everybody, nobody could provide me the level of support that I
mhm,
needed to get through it. And I felt
mhm,
for a long time that I was just by myself. And I felt like it took me longer to get past it and to get over it. In all essence, if someone would be honest, it's almost like when you get a divorce, whether you wanted it or not,
mhm,
it almost was like someone died. And so,
mhm,
your life is completely shifted. And so I didn't get therapy, I didn't get counseling, I didn't get any of those things. So I had to literally solely depend on God and just get through that thing. And it took some time, especially when you didn't have anybody to talk to, because you're like, everybody's saying, oh, get over it, oh, move on, oh, you'll be all right, oh, you, trouble don't last always.
mhm,
That's what you're getting. Your friends, oh, you'll be all right, better days ahead. Then you got the church family. And so everybody had just two or three words of listening to what I had to say, cutting you off and things like that. So you out there by yourself, and no one listened to me. And I knew at that point, when I finally could wake up and say, okay, I'm good, I'm fine. That's when I knew then that I probably should have sought some counseling and some help. Am I better now? I'm good, praise God. I can definitely help someone get through it, for real.
mhm,
But at that time, looking back on it, I think that I that would have reduced the time. It would have helped me to be able to better and clearly. It was probably towards the end of the recovery from it that a preacher actually came and actually had just been through it a couple of years ago, and was able to kind of just tell me, do this, do this, do this, do this, and that helped me tremendously. But when people don't go through it, they don't know what to tell you. So that was my testimonial about it, and noticing what needed to happen for me. So
Can we? I don't hate to ask this question, but I don't want to ask it and we get into something crazy. But I'm gonna ask it anyway. This is my
go
show.
ahead.
I'm gonna ask it. Do you think sometimes we just too spiritual?
Yeah, I do. The Bible tells us that we can be so spiritually minded that we're no earthly good. I think that sometimes pastors and preachers, all of us, we can be so spiritual that we're not even approachable. People don't even know how to
Mhm,
talk to us. They're afraid of us and everything. And sometimes I think that we can go too far. Um, you
mhm,
know, I had to actually break it down to someone one day, and it was like they came to me and was like, you're staying in the house and you're not having church, and they came at me, and I know this is not a church well, we're not preaching, so I think we're okay.
yeah.
But they came to me and they were like, so you're not having church, y'all gonna stay at home? And I was like, yeah. It's like, you don't have faith in God. And that was like the last thing that somebody could tell me. I was like, are you serious right now? I said, so you're going out and you're hitting the streets and you're going to visit everybody. You're doing all of that. Say, yeah, because faith without works is dead, and this, that, and the third. And I was like, okay. I said, now this is what I'd like to call and tell you is a pure example of manipulation. You are utilizing the Bible and the Word of God
Hmm.
to do what you want to do. I said, so therefore, what you're saying is null and void. Don't come and ask for prayer if you get the virus when you could have just followed the instructions that were
That's
given
it.
to you. And a lot of times people can be so spiritual, and the ones that are so spiritual aren't really spiritual. They're not. They're
Hmm.
not. They remember those scriptures to do what they want to do. Other than that, hey, and the reason why they're using them to do what they want to do is because they've been doing what they want to do anyway, and they
That's
have
it.
the God knows my heart.
Uh-huh.
Those folk. God knows he does. He knows everything that's in there, all the good, bad, ugly, happy, and sad. So let me stop. I'm gonna
No,
stop while I'm
you're
ahead.
fine. You're fine. I think sometimes we be so. In other words, every situation doesn't call for a scriptural answer. Sometimes because I was listening to your story, sometimes all you needed was just someone to talk to you and not give you the church answer.
Right. Even Jesus did it. I mean, let's think about it. When they were asking Jesus questions all throughout the Bible, there were times where he just used a parable,
Hmm.
where he just told a story.
Hmm.
Because that's all a parable is a story. It wasn't even a
Hmm.
true story. He just gave
Hmm.
them a story. So we're
Right.
given, sometimes we can go so far out until it's just you're not helping anybody. When people can't
Hmm.
even relate to what you're talking about. Sometimes it helps to be relatable. And I think that we as leaders, we're responsible for making sure that people are being led and guided in the right way. And my message
Hmm.
was stay at home. If you don't have to go out, don't go. Stay at home. Learn how to cook if you can, but
Right.
stay at home. And
That's right.
even now, I want people to be smart. If
Hmm.
you don't have to do something, don't do it. It's okay. That's Stop trying to be cute and wear decorative masks that we know aren't going to provide the proper protection that we need. Get a
Uh,
white mask, paint it if you want to, but let's be safe and stop trying to be so cute. Those type of things. And it's like, come on, guys. I understand style is important. Put it over top of the one that actually works. So
right.
those are
Right.
the type of things that bother me because it's like, really, can we just be wise about certain things and not run out here and just do everything. I seen
Hmm.
so many cookouts and kickbacks, and I'm like, are we supposed to do that? So, but
Well, what do you think is going to happen? This is Memorial Day. That's
well,
all I need to say. I mean,
well,
I mean, we might be having some memorials if we're not careful.
well, and and I'm not an expert or anything, but I noticed several different things started to happen in the timeline. Um, the first time when those stimulus checks started coming out, they started opening up stuff.
Hmm.
They started talking about reopening. They started making decisions. Money was being put out there. Okay. Then a holiday came. They started opening up more stuff. Then
Hmm.
now here we have another holiday. And now we're in a whole nother phase. So, um,
Well, and then it was demanded of us that the churches open up.
yeah. Well, they just like you didn't make me close. You're not gonna make
Yeah,
me open.
because with all due respect, with all due respect, there is no way the African American church is going to come in there after being out and just come in and practice social distancing. Somebody's going to get to jumping and running, and then when they start jumping, somebody's going to come and hold them so they don't hurt themselves.
And
And I always give this illustration. I remember going to the doctor and getting a prescription for antibiotics, and the doctor said, take these for 10 days because I was sick. After day 6 or 7, I started feeling better. I don't need these. And then I go back 2 months later. I never took these last 3 pills. The doctor said take all 10 of them. And I think what we're doing in this country is that we are saying we're getting better, stop taking the antibiotics and get back out there. And we're still sick.
But Bishop, I wanna say this. Wait, I said Bishop.
Say
It's
it.
Apostle,
Yeah,
right?
say you call me Charlie, Harley, you call me anything. Just say what you got to say.
Okay, and I've said this and I've been saying it, and I'm going to say this for the people that are not mathematicians and not experts. But they say that things are getting better and there's a flattening and all of this stuff. But every morning I get up, the number is higher. And I just mathematically don't get it. And they're saying, well, we got more tests. Well, people are usually having this virus for a few weeks anyway. I'm like,
Right.
okay, we're testing more people, but there is a possibility that more people are still getting this virus and it's still being passed along. And
Right.
so I'm like, we don't know everything, and I just feel like it's too soon. And I feel like there were people that were careless even when we had the orders in place, and now it's really gonna be a little bit more loose. I mean, I think it was even one day I forgot, and I had to run back to the car and almost open the door to the
Hmm.
convenience store, and I almost opened the door and I was like, wait, I don't have my mask. But that's
Hmm.
just the shifting. Things started to look normal again. That wasn't those constant reminders there. And then I'm like, wait, oh, whoa. And I saw that plexiglass and I ran back, got my
Yeah.
mask.
Right.
And so when things start to come back to a normalcy level for us, those instant reminders are going to be eliminated. And I noticed it for myself. And so I'm just concerned as to whether, because there's some people that I've seen that have not had a mask or gloves the entire
Right.
time this
They're
has been
not take
going on.
right. They're not taking it seriously. I was in the store getting something to eat, and I had my mask on as I always do. I mean, I keep a stack. I put two or three on if I feel like. And I'm standing there trying to get a loaf of bread, and a young lady comes next to me to get, and she's standing about a foot away from me with no mask on. And I repent. I had to say, Lord, forgive me for what I did. To get away, I just said, and she took off running down the aisle. And I'm saying, put a mask. I'm sorry, but
Well, I had an incident where I got shot with Lysol in the store. I have allergies, and I sneezed, and it was an older woman that was working behind the register before they put the shields and everything up.
hmm.
And I said, "Hush!" And before I could, really get my sneeze out, she had. I was like, "Whoa!" It was funny. I was like, I got shot today, and everybody's like, "You okay?" It's like, no, I got shot with Lysol. It was hilarious. I couldn't even get mad, but yeah, I think people are now using that one cough rule, no cough rule. They see you coughing, they hear you coughing. Typically, when I get to a parking lot and it looks as if it's a holiday,
Hmm.
it looks like it's Black Friday. I just keep
Uh-huh.
going. And
Hmm.
because that's what it's starting to look like now. And people are coughing, they are sneezing, and they're not, properly taking. And there, some people aren't using the 6 feet
Right.
requirement. They're just not doing it. And it's like, okay, I don't want to be rude, but when you watch the news and you see all of these people dying, and
Hmm.
not saying that you're fearful or you don't trust God, but the truth is, if I can do anything to prevent this and to protect myself, then we all need to be
Right.
doing that.
And some fear is actually good. If it wasn't, we come into church on Sunday and we open the basket and start having snakes passing around.
Yeah.
And we're not going to do that. And the same person that's telling you you should have faith, tell them to have enough faith to hold this snake.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you see? Where are we going from here? Both in as far as the health profession with mental health and or church. What do you think, in your opinion, what's next?
Well, I'm a firm believer that it takes 30 days to create a habit.
Okay.
I don't think church will ever be the same. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't. To be 100% honest, I love Jesus. I have faith in God, but I will not be the first preacher to have an altar call and lay hands on anybody. I won't. I
Okay.
won't be the first one to do it. Uh,
Hmm.
just not. However, I've we're purchasing masks. We're giving out when we do go back. We're planning now for when we do go back to give masks and gloves and to people as they come in church. No offense, but and this is for your protection, not just the church. The church is just the building, but we want folks to be safe. And
Hmm.
I don't see things going back to the way that they were. I see now that people are going to be cleaner. They're going to be more mindful. Just look at the germs and how germy is not a word. I just made that up. But how negligent we have been with just the simple washing hands.
Hmm.
You know, even doctors, they've contracted this virus. How did they get it? It's just, and they're consistently washing their hands. So it's just that now we're going to be more mindful. But as far as church is concerned, I think there's going to be a little bit more distancing. I am worried. I am worried that some folks that's used to that genuine fellowship and getting together, I am worried that there are going to be some lines that are going to be crossed, and I think that there are going to be some issues related to, just people getting sick. It was somewhere I saw in the news where they opened up the church, and 2 weeks later, the pastor and about 19 members had got contracted the virus. So I'm just going to be me personally for my church. We're going to be very, very cautious. We're not rushing it. We make sure that our services are available live on Sundays, and then we also do the Zooms and things of that nature at least 2 times a week. So we're being as available to our folks as much as possible, but it's just safer.
Yeah.
Um, I think that now for churches, I'm not sure if everybody's coming back.
Mm. Okay.
I'm not sure if everybody's coming back to church. I think some folks are enjoying the fact that you don't have to put on all the stuff to go to church, and you can have your robe and bedroom shoes on and praise God right there in the living room.
You
One
come.
time you can get everybody in the house to go to church. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so I think that the churches have had to definitely be creative. We've had to be creative, and if you didn't like live, if you didn't like streaming, you had to figure it out. It's either figure it out or leave your people out without the proper word and things of that nature. And phone calls can get a little dry and boring after a while. So, but I think that it's going to be a slow process. Um, it's going to be dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly feel like that, and it's not because God isn't protecting us at the church, and God isn't covering us, and God isn't doing these things. It's not has nothing to do with that. But we also have to understand that the people that God is covering and God is protecting, there's still also people out there that are doing things that are just unreal. So um, I think that we just need to be careful. And that's just for church people or anyone. As far as mental health, I think it's going to be a process. I think it's still going to be a process, and it's just going to be, I did hear the president say that, he said, "Hey, yeah, we know that thousands and thousands of people are going to die, but we got to open back up." So it's coming, it's coming. But I think that one of the biggest things.
I didn't freeze, by the
I
way.
know you didn't say nothing. It's okay. It's all right. You
I
heard
thought
it.
I
I'm
know
not
you
making
thought
it
maybe
up.
I froze up. No, I didn't freeze. I'm cool.
But and so I think that the biggest thing now is going to be making the decision to decide what's going to be most important.
Hmm.
You
Let me
know,
ask, let me ask you this.
Mhm.
This is on my side now. We talked about church mental health. What's going to happen with school? What do you think is going to happen? Although you do deal with it because you all have to. How are we going to go back? My question with school is, how you going to social distance? I'm not even talking about elementary kids. So you're going to have 8 desks in a room. Uh, the local high school that has 2,000 adults. I don't even call them children. They are children, but when I say adults, physically, they look like adults walking through the halls in between classes. How do you do that?
and I'm going to be honest with you, I can't see where any of this is going to make sense for a long time. And I say that because we've got, oh my God, this latest information now that kids are. It seems like the symptoms that kids are having is worse than for
Right,
adults, and we're going
right.
to put them. back in school, and their outcome is, oh my God, it's tragic. So I can't see how that's even going to make sense, or why that's going to make sense. But I've seen like the AB schedules and all of these different things, so I really don't know. The distancing part, the it's just, it's impossible. I mean, kids are like church folks. They love each other. They got to give each other a high
Right.
five. They're gonna dap.
Right.
They're gonna do all of that. And so you're gonna have, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say this, and I hope teachers are watching. I hope they're participating. But we thank you. I don't have any kids, but I have, every time I talk to someone, the bank, the grocery store, anywhere I talk to a parent that has a school age child, I can say how you're doing, and the first thing they say is, I don't know how these teachers do it. So definitely, you guys have my vote for a raise. When they open this back up, your job is going to be probably the most important job there is. So we definitely love you, teachers. We miss you. Don't quit. We want you back. So I'm just speaking for a lot of the parents that don't understand how you've done what you've done. So they respect you now more than ever. And I promise you, when the new school year starts, you won't have any issues out of parents, because they're going to be so glad that you're doing your job. So
And,
you have my vote for a raise. Just
and you know
FYI.
what? And you know what? I'm prophesying right now.
Hey,
I prophesy that when we come back, this is the first time I'm speaking this. This is the first. This is an exclusive breaking news prophecy. This will be the greatest year of perfect attendance in the history of schools. No child's gonna miss any time because them parents gonna say, "You going to school? You got to get out of here."
I believe that. I believe that. And they're not gonna, and the teachers won't have any issues with the parents. None. I believe that too. They're gonna be like, you know what? No, because you did it to me for those 4 months. You did it. So
Yeah,
it's gonna be a peaceful year when they
yeah,
get back. I
yeah.
believe that. So, and that's something. But I really, I'm nervous, to be
Mhm.
honest with you. I'm nervous to see what's going to happen, because when you look at school, they close first, and you look at that there's so many different avenues and connections within that school system. You got
Mhm.
parents, they're going in the environments, they're going in their neighborhoods, and they're coming from all over. And so it's almost like an airport, almost, man.
Yeah, yeah.
And school, but I don't, I really don't know about that. I really don't know. I know that what they were talking about, what ideally and realistically making kids do that, is going to be really difficult. That's going to require, I think it's going to be costly.
Oh
It's
yeah,
going to cost,
definitely.
it's going to cost a lot of money.
Because if
And
you're putting one child per bus seat and skipping a seat on a bus that normally has 44, 46, 48 elementary kids, now you're going to only bus what, 15 to 20, and you have to make 3 trips. That's the bus driver fee, that's the fuel cost, all of that's going up.
well, I want to ask you something, and I know you're the interviewer, but if you got on mask and gloves and you have on the proper mask, why do you still have to stay 6 feet apart?
I froze up on that one. I, you know,
I, if you have those things in place and they're proper and they're CDC recommended, then why is it that still that 6 feet thing? I mean, I'm just not sure about that, because I'm like, well, if we have all of the utensils and the supplies in place, then we should be able to come a little closer together. But I guess, I mean, I
that's
just
a
feel like
good
there's a lot
question.
of unknowns.
That's a good question. Maybe someone watching can comment on that because that's a good question. Because I'm thinking if you have on the an improper mask, some people had, you were talking about these stylish masks. I was in the store and a guy, he had on this Burberry mask, and I'm saying, man, come on now. But yet it's just a piece of cloth. Or people in the store like this with something covering them, the particles still can go through, can shoot through. So maybe it's to make sure, but I have no idea why. That's something we need to research and look up. That's a good question.
I'm just, because it's like, okay, the social distancing, and then they're telling us to wear the mask, and it's something new that we're learning about this
Yeah,
virus almost every other week or every month, and I'm like, okay, I thought this couldn't happen, I thought that couldn't happen, and it's like, okay, now it's happening. First it was African Americans couldn't get it. That was the first thing.
that was the
Now,
first one.
now it's the opposite.
Right. We're the only
Kids
ones
couldn't,
getting it. Right.
kids couldn't get
Good
it.
kids couldn't get it. Right.
So it's like I'm not sure, and I don't think that they're really sure either.
Right.
So and that's why I'm just with the uncertainties of all of this, and it just seems like this virus is mutating. I'm curious to know why we're so eager. I understand reopening, but sending these kids back to school, I that right there is just they're kids, and I just don't know if that's the proper move to make. Parents have been managing
Right.
and maintaining, but I also understand there's working, childcare, all those things involved. But that just seems like not the right thing to do. Even with graduation, I think they need to wait just a little while longer before they
Hmm.
start having these graduations, in person graduations, just a little while longer. If things are getting better, let's let it get better before
Right.
we go out and pull in a class of 300 or 400
And,
students.
and it might be that we're doing the social distancing because everyone's not wearing the proper gear,
Could be,
because everyone won't do it.
could be.
I
You're
mean, they're not.
right.
They're either wearing, and I know that the mask is designed. If you and I are in the store and I have on a mask, that mask is not to protect me from the virus. That mask is to protect you from me spraying it on you.
Right.
If you don't have one and you spray it, I'm still going to get it because it's going to get on my clothes. It's going to get uh, anyway, it can get in my hair, and eventually I'll touch my hair. It can get on my glasses, and I can adjust my glasses. Now all of a sudden I've touched my glasses and it's on my hand without knowing it. So it's to protect. So maybe it's because I don't know where I've been. I need to do this. Maybe it's because of I'm just see you get see I see the difference. I got one I found in the back seat of the car, and you got the big.
I got a refill if you need it. So
Yeah, I need it with this. Listen, my friend, we've been on here. It's knocking on an hour, and it's been 50 minutes of a wonderful conversation. I've enjoyed myself talking to you. This was very informative, not just talking about church and hallelujah, and he cometh on a Honda and tie yellow bow tie and all of that stuff. But we need to talk about practical issues, and I think mental health is practical. I think it is church. If you're a pastor, I think you have had to have, if you're worth your weight in anything, you had to have some type of mental health issues because of the anxiety of directing people. And certainly, all of us have our issues. All of us during times like this, our anxiety level is rising. And would you like to say something to us before we go? And
sure thing. I am partnering with I'm partnering with my mental health organization that I work with called Yelverton's Enrichment Services, and we are doing panel discussions on the effects of mental health in different domains of life. And coming up, we have mental health and entertainment. Coming up, we have mental health and the church. We have mental health and childcare. We have mental health and education. We have several different episodes that we're going to be airing on Facebook Live and also YouTube Live. Last week, we did an episode on mental health and sports. And in our episode on mental health and sports, we had featured guest was Vontae Leach, was also Lavelle Moulton, and also we had Terrence Copper. And also, we had another basketball coach from Wake County. And so we had different athletes in sports, ex NFL players that all participated, and they shared their stories about mental health and the effects that it had in the sports area. It was wonderful, powerful, engaging sessions, and we're just asking people to just come in, tune in, chime in. We're hoping to focus on improving awareness and acceptance and reducing the stigmas about mental health. So and we're also incorporating prayer. We're incorporating the spiritual aspect and still maintaining your connectivity to God. And so we're definitely not leaving the Lord out of this, but definitely we're carrying him with us into the next level. So my last word for you guys to be safe. Stay at home if you can. Make the right decisions. Just because someone opens something doesn't mean you have to walk in. And we thank you so much once again for tuning in. And I just hope that you guys have been blessed by this discussion. Thank you.
All right, my friend. I thank you again for taking the time to come and join us today. I really enjoyed it. It's been a fast hour. It went by so fast, but enjoyed it. And you all look her up, get on and get with the program because this is a serious topic. This is nothing to take lightly. It is no different than, as she said, than having diabetes or having high blood pressure. As a matter of fact, I love that illustration about blood pressure because it's called the silent killer. It's something that you don't know that you're dealing with, but yet you take your blood pressure medicine. We take it. Well, let's look at mental health in the same way. We salute all of our healthcare workers. We salute those of you that's working in the mental health profession, doing a wonderful job. We need you. You are essential, not in the according to the definition of society, but you're essential in our hearts because we need you. Thank you, my friend, and you have a wonderful rest of the day and rest of the week.
You
Appreciate
too.
you. All
God
right.
bless.
Bye bye. Want to say thank you again to Pastor Natasha Lewis for the wonderful conversation that we had today, my friends. This was good stuff. This was very good stuff to me, talking about mental health. Mental health awareness is something that we need to talk about. We need to discuss. If you have any more questions, please feel free to search her out, Natasha Lewis. Feel free to search her out, ask questions if you want some professional advice or help on dealing with mental health or just ministry in general. Reach out to her. I'm sure she'll be glad to help you. I want to say that I appreciate you, those of you. If this has been a blessing to you, help us stay on the air. We're trying to come on here every day to give you vital information. And so, if the Lord lay on your heart to be a blessing to us, then just cash app us. There's the cash app. Any amount will help us just keep strolling along. We're going to keep scrolling along, just like this sign is scrolling along. We need your support. We need your help. We're going to be here. We're going to do this until our time runs out. But we need your help doing this. But I also want you to do something else that won't cost you anything. Hit the share button. Share this broadcast with someone so that we can get the word out that mental health awareness is critical, especially during this pandemic. There are probably millions and millions of people across this country who are struggling with mental health issues, and their anxiety level is rising and rising because we don't know what's going to happen next month and next week. I do want to say this, as she said something about church that I want to reiterate. Just because someone told us to go back, we made the choice not to go. Be safe. Leaders, pastors, please pray. Be safe. Be safe. Don't be led by what someone else tells you. People's lives are at stake. This is greater than us just getting together singing a song. This is greater than us getting together reading a scripture. This is greater than us raising an offering or running down the aisle. This is greater than us holding hands and singing kumbaya. This is greater. People's lives are at stake. People are dying. People are dying. We have been placed in control of those lives. We have to use wisdom. We have to use wisdom. We're going to get through this. Take your time. Don't rush it. We're going to get through it, and we're going to get through it together. Listen, my friends, I want to say thank you. And I want to tell you today to enjoy this beautiful holiday season that we're in. Enjoy this beautiful weather that we're going to experience. Find a loved one, love on them. Find someone in your neighborhood, find a senior citizen that's been struggling in your community and reach out to help them. And when you go to bed tonight, ask yourself a question. Did I do something today to work toward my purpose, or did I just waste another day? And I'll see you right here tomorrow at 12 o'clock for more Sign of the Times. And remember, I love you, and there's nothing that you can do about it.